Life is cray. You know it, I know it. Nobody gave us a manual for any of it. But here we are figuring it out together. I'm Cate, and this is Life's Just Cray, a podcast where we talk through all the stuff that has you up until 2 a.m. talking with your bestie or mom like, okay, but what would you do though? Real situations, real talk, no fluff. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear, but I'm going to tell you what you probably already know and just needed someone to say out loud. Now, real quick, before we get into this, I am not a therapist, I am not a professional, and I'm not here to tell you what to do. Everything I say comes from my own personal experience and my own perspective. My grandma always told me, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And that's how I move in life, and that's how I move on the show. I'm going to give you something to think about and push you in the direction that I may think is the right one. But what you do with it is up to you. Now, before I get into this, the voices you're going to hear reading these situations are AI generated, and all the names will be changed for confidentiality purposes. Okay, let's get started. Grab a seat because today we are in relationship territory, because sometimes the person sitting across from you at the dinner table is keeping something you never saw coming.
My husband and I have been married for 6 years. Before we got engaged, we had a long, honest conversation about finances because we both came from families where money caused serious damage, and we were determined not to repeat that pattern. We agreed on complete transparency from the very start. We opened a joint account together before the wedding. We sit down every single month and go through our budget without fail. We talk openly about spending, saving, short and long-term goals, what we can and cannot afford. I genuinely believed financial honesty was one of the things we actually had figured out in our marriage. Last week, I was working from home and needed a document my husband told me was saved in his downloads folder. He was at the office and told me to just grab it off his laptop. I was not looking for anything suspicious. I had absolutely no reason to be. While I was searching, I saw a bank notification pop up from an account I did not recognize. It was not our joint account. It was not a name I had ever heard of, and the balance showing was not small. I closed the laptop and sat with it for 2 full days. I ran through every possible explanation, an old account, something through his employer, something I had maybe just forgotten about. I gave him every benefit of the doubt I could find before I finally brought it up. When I asked him, he went very quiet. Then he told me he opened it a few years into our marriage because he wanted something completely his own. He said it was not about hiding anything from me. I want to be fair, I understand that feeling. I do not want my husband to feel monitored or controlled. That is not the marriage I want either. But we are married. We made a commitment to build a life together with full transparency. And he has sat across from me at our budget meetings for years and said nothing. Not once. For years. I don't know yet if this is a betrayal or a boundary I didn't know existed, but I know that I feel like I don't fully know the person I have been sharing my life with, and I don't know how to unknow that feeling.
Let me start by saying this. Secrets in a marriage are never a good thing. Unless it's a surprise, a birthday, an anniversary, something you've been quietly planning because you love your person and you want to do something special for them. That secret is beautiful, and that's not what this is. What this is your husband sitting across from you at every single budget meeting you've had for 2 years. Meetings that you both agreed to, meetings that were built upon foundation of full transparency and mutual trust. And choosing every single time to say nothing. Not once did he look at you and say, hey, I want to talk to you about something. Not once did he bring it up on his own terms before you stumbled across it by accident. You had to find out from a notification on his laptop while you were looking for something completely unrelated. That's not a boundary. That's a secret. Now, here's what I will say in his corner. When you asked him about it, he didn't lie to you. He didn't make up something or try and spin it into something it wasn't. He was open with you, and he told you what it was and why he opened it. That matters. That tells you something about who he is as a person. A person who is truly hiding something doesn't come clean the first time they're asked. So give him credit for that part. But here's where you cannot let it go without a real conversation. You need to know two specific things. First, where is the money coming from? Is he pulling it from his paycheck into his account before it hits the joint account? Because if he's redirecting money that's supposed to go towards your shared life, then that's not just about independence anymore. That affects your household, your budget, and everything you two have been building together. And second, what has he been spending it on? Because an account that's been open for years with a balance that surprised you means money has been going in. The question is whether any of it has been going out and where, if it did. You have every right to ask these questions, and you have every right to a straight answer. Now, going forward, you also need to decide together what happens with this account. Does it get added into your monthly budget? So everything is on the table and the way you both originally agreed? Or does he keep it separate? And if so, what are the boundaries? And is it something you actually agree on? Because transparency isn't just something you practice when it's convenient. It's foundation for your entire financial agreement that was built on. And if that foundation just cracked, the question is whether you're going to repair it together or leave it and hope it holds. You two didn't build this financial agreement for no reason. You both came from somewhere where you were taught money secrets can do anything to a family. He knows that, which makes the conversation you need to have even more important. Because this isn't just about a bank account. This is about the promise you made to each other to never become what you both came from. Get the full picture first, then decide how you feel about the person in front of you. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Life's Just Cray, because life doesn't wait and neither do we. If you're not already following, make sure you hit that follow button wherever you listen to your podcasts and leave us a comment on your thoughts. It helps more people find the show, and trust me, they need to be here. Now, here's what I need from you. Slide into my DMs on Instagram or TikTok and let me know a common situation that you want my advice on, whether it be real life situation or hypothetical. Send it my way in writing and you might just hear it on the next episode. And remember, just because I've said this advice doesn't mean that you have to take it. You're the maker of your own decisions, but you must be willing to deal with consequences of your actions if there's any. Have a good one.